I think we're live. Yeah. Here we are live on the Metal Voice. A very exciting time. We have the new Iron Maiden album, Senjutsu.
When you sign,
We got a little bit of a video lag there. I want to ask everybody out there before we begin, just to make sure. Kenny, what's going on?
Good morning. Good morning. Hi from New York.
All right, I'm from New York. I'm in Montreal, Canada, and I just want everybody to tell me, do we have a good balance of audio here? Because the worst thing I want to do is to go along the show and the audio stinks. Am I too low? Is Kenny too high? Kenny, say something. What's the weather like over there?
It's cloudy. It's humid. And it's
Mm-hmm.
been very hot here.
All right, so everybody out there, give us an audio check. Tell me if Kenny and we sound balanced. Are we coming in too loud? Tell us. We'll lower it. We'll make your listening and viewing pleasure very comfortable. Hey, Tom, what's going on, man? All right, here we go. Everyone, and by the way, everybody, feel free to tell us if the audio's coming in bad or the video's coming in bad, and we'll adjust as we're going along. Again, I want to make this sound nice and look nice so we can all be comfortable. We're going to take your questions. First things first, I heard the album legally. There's no, so all those people saying it leaked, it leaked. No, it didn't leak. You shouldn't be downloading leaked copies anyways. This is right from the label, from the PR people. This is a legit, I listened to it on a digital format. It's not a hard copy. I've heard it maybe like 6, 7 times in the past few days. Kenny has not heard the album. I just want everybody to be clear. Kenny has not heard he's on the show today to sort of as the fan to ask me the questions. He's going to be like interviewing me. I just want to set this up right here. I want to get the right expectations with everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. Sounds. Audio is good. Audio is fine. Audio is good. This fake live. No, buddy. This is real live. If I can read your question, this is real live. This is not fake live. By the way, fake live, Kenny, means pre-recorded, premiered.
Okay.
I forgot my. You know why I didn't put my Iron Maiden shirt on? I'll tell you why. Because I forgot. Kenny did put it. I forgot. I could not find my Iron Maiden shirt. So I go, wait a second. New wave of British heavy metal, Raven.
Raven, not a bad choice, Jimmy.
There you go. All right. Here we go. All right. Today on the show, much anticipated, the 17th studio album, Senjutsu, the first in 6 years, going to be released September 3rd. It was recorded in Paris with long-standing producer Kevin Shirley and co-produced by Steve Harris. What did you think, Kenny? I'm going to ask you the first questions. The first 2 tracks, what did you think about the production?
Okay, the first 2 tracks.
The singles that everybody knows. And I'm not going to talk about the singles because we've talked about the singles and everybody's talked. I'm going to talk about the rest of the album.
They fit right in after the Book of Souls. It's Kevin Shirley. It's Steve Harris production. It's the epic, longer song, Writing on the Wall. But Stratego comes right in like I thought it was a little like the older stuff. But Writing on the Wall reminded me of something that could have came right out of the old times with in the 80s with Power Slaves, something right out of that era.
Yeah, so, that's very good. That's very astute of you, Kenny. Very astute of you. Get this. Here's some tidbits. Senjutsu will be the first album in 26 years which Dave Murray did not contribute any songs.
I noticed that when I was doing the track listing. Yeah, he usually does at least one song, one track. Very good, Jimmy.
Yeah. And Sinjitsu will be the first album in 23 years in which Steve Harris penned 4 songs on his own.
Yes. Usually does 1 or 2, right? Or possibly 3, but this is 4, correct.
And this is the 6th album that Kevin Shirley has produced and worked with Iron Maiden. I'm going to tell everybody right off the bat, if you heard the first 2 songs, the singles, I'm going to talk about production here in general with Kevin Shirley and Steve Harris. I noticed having I don't have the hard copy CD, so I'm going to be quite frank with everybody here. I noticed it sounded very good on headphones. Okay? And I guess a lot of people have said the same thing. It sounds better on iTunes and it sounds on YouTube. So it does sound really good on headphones. Maybe it was designed, the production, to be a sort of an iPhone or sort of a digital platform sort of album. Again, I'm
Maybe
just assuming here, but I thought it sounded really good. I was a little disappointed when I first heard the first single. I got, the production's a little, but it does have an 80s feel to it, the production. I agree with you, Kenny.
Yep.
And I found that it sounded a lot better on headphones. So there's a ding, a good marks for that. I've heard it 5, maybe 6, maybe even 7 times. I find that it's going to take a lot of time to absorb this album.
Like Book of Souls, Jimmy. That took a long time for me to absorb.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I had to go back to it this morning after you called, and I listened to it straight through. And there's a lot of points I liked, and a lot I didn't like. But not that I didn't like it. It's just I thought Book of Souls could have been a little cut down a little bit, maybe one less song or something. This looks good. It's 10 tracks. I think maybe they pushed Book of Souls with an extra track.
Yeah. And I'm going to address this so everybody understands, because I'm getting a lot of these emails. Has the album leaked? I don't know. I don't think so. And I hope not, because this is not a leak. This is a legitimate promo from the label that I'm reviewing. I did not review something off of YouTube. I reviewed something off a promo digital platform. That's the sound that I'm getting, just so everybody's clear here. Yes, YouTube does compress, but a digital platform doesn't, so maybe that's why it sounded really good. All right. 5 to 6 listens, it's not enough. Again, I think the let's talk about the instrumentation. We'll talk about the vocals. The instruments, the music sounds really good on headphones. The vocals, and we're just talking about production strictly here, sound a little like they sound exactly like they do in the first 2 singles. A little muffled, right? Still good, but a little muffled. That's my only sour note so far. They sound a little muffled. Could that be the way they recorded it? Maybe it was remote. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what it sounded like. Maybe they're going for a certain sound, but you could clearly see that the Book of Souls vocal delivery and the Final Frontier, I'm talking about the production. I'm not talking about the singing. I will tell everybody this. This is probably one of Bruce's best vocal deliveries at the age of, what is he, 60-something?
He's still got it. Yeah.
You know what he's doing on this album compared to the other album? He's singing more of the Bruce of solo albums than he is with Bruce of Iron Maiden. Less of the sort of operatic sound over the songs. Like when you look at A Matter of Life and Death, when you listen to that album, there's 3 very powerful guitars that he's kind of, I wouldn't call it yelling, but he's loud over. He's singing. He's singing these songs. You will not see, Kenny, and you will not hear "for the greater good of God" repeated over and over. You will not hear the phrase of the title track of that song, or you will not hear repetition of "it's the final frontier, it's the final You will not hear that. These choruses are well crafted, mature, and catchy.
Well, I noticed he's only got 3 credits on the album himself, where he had a few more on Book of Souls. He did 3 songs. Most of this is Harris Smith.
Now, I'm going to go look at these comments here. Nico says they have another album planned. Don't know. Tears of a Clown shortened some of the songs. Volume on Stratego feels turned down as compared to... I feel like I'm just looking at Bruce is 63, but was 60 when the album was recorded. That's from Frank. Frank, that's a great point.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For a 60-year-old, he sounds great. I mean, again, the vocal production sounds a little muffled, but he sings great. I think that's one of the highlights of the album. Bruce is singing. He's just not repeating the name of the song over and over again. Because I'm a Rothschild. You know what I mean? He's actually singing choruses, and that's what was missing from Iron Maiden. They finally got that right. So I'm really, really happy. Everybody, you can expect on this album real choruses. And I'm not saying it doesn't work sometimes singing the title over and over. It does, right? But that's what I'm saying.
It's more like Accident at Birth, that type of album?
You know what I'm saying? Bruce is singing like he does on this album right here.
Okay.
Chemical Wedding. Some
That's-
beautifully crafted choruses. That's how he's singing.
And that had Adrian Smith on it, correct?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Adrian's taking it to another level too. So if
He
I
has
would,
been.
I'm going to give a high level here. Okay, this is Bruce solo meets Blaze era. I know people are going to freak out. Meets The Final Frontier. Meets Matter of Life and Death, and some new territory for Iron Maiden, but
think I'm
all
gonna-
within the Iron Maiden box. So I'll repeat that. The Bruce solo era meets Blaze Bailey era, meets The Final Frontier, meets A Matter of Life and Death, and lots of new territory. Like you heard on the writing on the wall, there's a little bit of that slide guitar there, a little bit of that Western feel. So I don't want to scare everybody with the people who say, Blaze Bailey, what are you doing? No, it's done right. It's done right. Okay, let me see some comments here so far. Okay,
It's
it's just
like Name of the Rose type of stuff, like that era.
Yes.
That's epic stuff.
yes. Chemical Wedding. Chemical Wedding is the best Maiden album that's not a Maiden album. He sings as well as he sings on this album. That's how he's singing on this album. Again, I love, and I want to preface this too. I love all Iron Maiden eras. I do like the long songs. Some people might not, but I do. But I think this album has something for everyone. All right. You have any other questions? Kenny?
I like the long songs.
Yeah.
But maybe one or two. That last album, I think they kind of hit it. There was quite a few. This one, it seems there's a lot of epics on it, and it's towards the end. They hit the Harris 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 11 minutes. So I got to digest all of that towards the end. The beginning of the album is going to pick up, and you're going to, but that last chunk of the album, it looks like it's going to take a time to digest it. And they got that classic history lesson, Death of the Celts on it. It looks like it could be another one of their history lessons, which I don't know about you, but I learned a lot about history through Iron Maiden.
Well, I'm going to get into, okay, let's get into this track versus track, like track and track, okay? And this is, everybody get out your track listing to follow through. Okay,
So what do
everybody
you
ready
think
for
about
this?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to focus on the two songs that we already know because everybody has heard it. Everybody has reviewed the first two singles. I won't focus on those. I'll focus on the rest of the album.
Let's do the other 8.
It's a lot. It's a lot, right? Did I miss something on the sort of beginning of this review? I think I pretty much covered everything. Look, guys, at the end of the day, this is friggin' Iron Maiden. Do you understand? This is friggin' Iron Maiden. Let's get another album out by them. I'm very excited about this album.
I can't wait for it. Yep.
I'll tell you something about me. Like when I did the Book of Souls, I was just so excited. And yes, sometimes that excitement, you know, you're so excited, you just love everything. But then over time, after a year, your opinion changes. I don't think this will be the case with this album.
Yes, like Final Frontier, in my opinion, didn't. I love that from the first time I heard it. Same thing with Life and Death. Loved it. Book of Souls, I went back and you're right. I was very excited about it. I was dying for new Maiden, and it just kind of went away after a while. I don't go back to it as much as the others.
I think they got the double album right this time. They kind of, I like Book of Souls, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's their best album, but I think what they want, that vision of that double album, they got it right on this album. When I first heard the album, I was like, it's just so much information and it's hard to absorb all this information. And then you realize, as I was breaking it down by verse, chorus, etc., man, this is some seriously mature, excellent songwriting. There, and it has everything. It has the fast tracks for the people who love the fast tracks. It's got the long epic songs. Yes, it does. But, you have to appreciate Iron Maiden for their intricacies, their musicianship, the vocal deliveries, the topics, like you said, a lot of interesting pieces of history you get to learn.
And the album cover again. They used Mark Wilson.
There you go. It's the album cover.
He came aboard on Book of Souls with the Mayan theme, and now he looks like he's taking it to little ninja Shogun warrior theme there.
Yes, yes, yes.
The album will come out like that.
All right, so here we go. And I wanted to tell everybody that think of Genghis Khan when I say the word instrumental, dun 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 dun, dun like it's sort of this galloping sort of a sound. There's a lot of that. I'm not saying it's all Genghis Khan. I'm just saying that's the type of instrumentals you're going to hear. A lot of hypnotic, galloping grooves. There's a lot of that at the beginning of songs, in the middle of songs. So when I reference Genghis Khan as an instrumental, there's a lot of that within the song. Sort of think of Where Eagles Dare, right? The whole midsection. There's this long sort of 2-3 minute instrumentals, right? There's not solo after solo, but it's just this instrumental passages, we'll call it, okay? So let us begin here. You ready for this, everybody? Go grab a coffee, grab a juice, go to the bathroom, because we are going to get into this right now, okay? Sinjitsu, the first song. The lyrics is the art of war and tactics, right? There's definitely a Japanese theme there. Very difficult. I don't have a lyric sheet. I can only listen and hear, but I'm going with what the promo sheet talked about, art of war and tactics. This song is incredible. And I'll tell you, it starts off with a tribal beat, a territory Maiden hasn't really got into. It's a tribal beat, and it just keeps building. There's slide guitar in it. It's just, how can I explain this? Like, you could hear this song opening a show, and people start getting goosebumps. I think you're getting a beep there. Are you getting a beep?
Yes, don't worry about that. I swiped. I got it.
Now, I'm just going to say Bruce shines on this. Very up-tempo song, but very tribal and rhythmic drum pattern. So if the people out there are saying, how does Nico sound on this? This is where Nico shines, with that tribal drum pattern. And, it's sort of that feeling of we're going to battle, or we're going to start, a war is about to begin. So just phenomenal song. Senjutsu is, what a way. It's 8 minutes and 20 seconds, but you don't feel it because you're so absorbed in the song. I don't know. I would think they're going to start their shows like this. And again, it'll give you goosebumps as it builds.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here. When they did For Matter of Life and Death, they played that from start to finish. Could you see them trying something like that again, or the audience wouldn't go for that? I got to tell you, mixed reaction when I was at the National Coliseum during that. A lot of people angry, a lot of people.
That's a good question, Kenny. I would think, that's very dangerous terrain, because there's a mix. My personal feeling is it's great to have a lot of new music. I'll give you an example. I went to see Rush, and the first half of the show was the album. Like the new album, the last album that was out, right? Clockwork Angels. They played it, I think, all of it. And then the second half was all the old Rush. People loved it, but people exploded when the new Rush came, the old Rush came in, yeah.
Yeah, that happened I was at the Nassau Coliseum. They did the whole Battle of Life and Death, but they came out and did another hour and a half of the hits. They did. They came back out. They had a little break. But the last tour, they did about half.
Yeah, yeah, and that's good. I think they got to do that. There's a mix. There's a mix. You want to get people hearing the old, and you want people to. I think these songs, that's where they'll shine. They'll shine in a live situation.
So there will be good luck.
So Sinjitsu, and you know what I love about the songwriting? I broke up Sinjitsu into sort of like, everybody knows a verse, chorus, solo. It goes like this. It goes verse, chorus, verse, slide guitar solo, second solo, then back to the chorus, then bridge 1, bridge 2, solo, bridge 1, chorus, instrumental with keyboards, solo, and then instrumental and keyboards and solo, and it ends. It's just friggin' the time change, like the changes are like, but they're done. The first song is done so right, you don't feel it. Like, you're not saying, oh, this is dragging on forever. No, you enjoy it. And the lyrics, there's certain words that work with music. The music is working with the lyrics. So 10 out of 10, great song. I'm not going to play, and somebody's saying, will you play the album for us? No, I will not play the album because it's illegal, and I'm bound to secrecy, and I respect the band. And sorry, guys, I know people. Just everybody, the album's coming out in a few days, or don't worry about it. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I know. I'm excited too. All right, second track. Stratego. We're not going to talk about it. We could play the game, the board game later, perhaps. The writing on the wall. The writing on the wall. I'm not going to talk about it, but we know that people are seeming to dig the first two tracks, right? Especially the second one, Stratego, which is at about 5 minutes. It's sort of that rockin' tune, right? And it's a great song. So let's get into Lost in a Lost World.
Another Harris.
9 minutes and 31 seconds. I gotta try to figure out how to say this. It starts off like something like a song out of the Moody Blues. Now people are saying, well, what does that mean? It's acoustic strumming, not picking, it's just strumming. And Bruce has got sort of this singing effects, which you really don't hear in Iron Maiden, like sort of this echo effect on him, maybe a flange or an echo on him.
Oh, okay.
And then you got the sort of 60s, 70s harmonies in background. I'm not going to do it because I can't. But it's like the sort of thing like that in the background. So it's Moody Blues, strumming. And you go, I've never heard Iron Maiden do something like this ever, which makes it even cooler. Then, everybody, hang on, you ready for this? Then it goes into a mid-tempo Blaze Bailey sort of virtual 11. The verse of Lightning Strikes? That sound. If you can remember that's what, and you're going, wait a second, is Blaze going to start singing here? But he doesn't, of course, it's Bruce. And then it goes into a midsection that kind of reminds you of Sign of the Cross. And it's a super long midsection. Lots of guitar solos that are super memorable. Long instrumental passages. I don't know, man. Harmony guitars, it's just it's very Iron Maiden. So again, this is when you've heard other reviews talk about there's a Blaze Bailey sort of era influence. Yeah, this is the song Lost in the Lost World. And I'll tell you some lyrics here. Slaughter of indigenous tribes. Again, I don't have the lyric sheet. I think it's something to do with indigenous tribes being slaughtered. So, but don't quote me on that. I'm getting some Spanish, guys. Sorry, I don't read Spanish. El esto uvendo a vivo a album. If someone could translate, please tell me. Saruba is saying, is this album darker than Brave New World? Yes, this is a dark album. Yeah. It is darker than Brave New World. And I kind of like that. And that's where that Blaze Bailey element comes in. Now, Rodolph is saying Virtual 11 is like wine, tastes better every time. Now, keep in mind, this is when I say Blaze Bailey era, I'm talking about the music. Not the vocals. Like the music has that pattern and sound of the Blaze Bailey era. And I'd say Virtual 11. Sam is saying, sounds like the lyrics might be a similar topic as Run to the Hills. You know what? Run to the Hill. Yes, I would tend to agree. Again, I can't hear the words. It's very difficult, right? Now someone's saying, how is the music? I'll get to the Darkest Hour. And Saruba saying, love the darker albums. Does it sound a bit like A Matter of Life and Death? Okay, this is where it sounds like A Matter of Life and Death. A lot of the songs on A Matter of Life and Death has that soft intro, and then it speeds up, and then has a soft intro at the end. Has a lot of that. Heads up, everybody. Not in all the songs, but a lot of that. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep, the same intro, outro. Yep.
And Metal Madness says, can you hear Yannick dancing and throwing up his guitars? Yes. I just said yes because of yes, that's all. Marcy saying, I like dark albums as well. Ramegis is saying, do you recognize 3 guitars like Dance of Death? You have to have the headphones on. Yes. Yes. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of, when Bruce is singing the verse or the chorus, there's a lot of the guitar that follows the notes, right? So as he's singing, the guitar is playing the notes Bruce is singing. There's a lot of that throughout the album, but not in an annoying way. I'm just stating a fact. There's a lot of that. Some people, that's kind of like the new thing that Maiden does. All right, so here we go. That was Lost in a Lost World. Again, sounds very indigenous, topical that way. Sounds like the Blaze Bayley era. We got Moody Blues in there. The Moody Blues. If nobody knows who Moody Blues are, just go on YouTube and listen to a couple of tracks. Very 60s, 70s. What's that?
Right? Little prog metal on them.
Yeah. Little prog metal, little sort of 60s, 70s hippie stuff, with the acoustic guitar. Folk, perhaps. There's effects on Bruce's singing on that song, and it's cool. It's spacey, I like it. I thought it was great. Because it's something you don't hear in Maiden, and it's great that they're exploring other avenues. All right, here we go. Days of Future Past. Now, everybody, get ready for this. This is the rocker. This is a Smith Dickinson composition. This is the rocker everybody's talking about. We need those fast tracks. This is it. This is the upbeat rocker of the album that was probably missing off of the last album. I could see them playing this song live. Bruce and Adrian, what a great team, because you have the intelligent lyrics of Bruce, not to say everybody else doesn't have intelligent lyrics, but you have that melody that they bring to the table, right? I would say definitely it could have been off of this album. This song, Days of Future Past, it's 4 minutes long. And what I love about this song is not only is it an upbeat rocker, it goes double time at the end. If everybody knows what the drums do, like you're singing the song, right? The chorus is going and then drums are going double time. So it really picks up the song and the dynamic. This will satisfy the purist of Iron Maiden who love only the first 5 albums. All right, Kenny?
It was Death or Glory on Book of Souls was kind of like that. It was kind of a rocker,
but not as catchy as a chorus. Like this is a very, and he's repeating Death of Glory, right? He's repeating that over. This is not these are well constructed choruses, very impressive. This is a winner. So far, I'm telling you the winners. Okay, as we go down the list here, Sinjitsu, excellent. The first single, Stratego, what everybody thinks about it, I won't comment. Everybody has their opinion. The Writing on the Wall, I won't comment. I love those 2 songs, by the way. Lost in a Lost World, I love it because I love the Blaze Bayley era. And Days of Future Past, like I said, this is the rocker. This is the short, strong rocker that we all wanted. So it satisfies the purist, the short song purists. All right, let's look at the questions here. Mark Brockman said, Speed of Light was short. Yeah, you're right. It was. For myself, Speed of Light, I like it, but it kind of missed the mark for me. I don't know what it was. It was the production. I'm not sure. But this one definitely is 3 steps above Speed of Light. Death or Glory chorus was horrible. Yeah, it's a repetitive title over and over, right? Addy saying the long songs are like the Red and the Black. No. You know what? There was no crowd, sort of that, that sort of like, what do you want to call it?
The sing-along
chorus. There was a lot less of that. How are the solos on the album? The Spectrum Within saying how the solos on the album. You know what? I would say half of them sound like Iron Maiden and the other half are a little more ambitious. We bring out the slide guitar. There's some effects going on. And I found Tom Morello. Have you ever heard Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine?
Yes, the solo stuff it's crazy. Yes.
Oh, there you go. You're getting a call from your wife.
Somebody keeps texting me. I'm sorry.
Well, there's a little bit of the Tom Morello. I don't want to scare everybody here. What he does is he plays with the sounds on his guitar, and you can hear just a little bit of that happening throughout the album. So maybe there's a little bit of an influence there.
New metal. Yeah. You get
Yeah.
a lot of that with Audio Slave. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, here we go. The Time Machine. Now, again, I know with the time it's H.G. Wells. It's a book written in 1895. A very Isle of Avalon from the Final Frontier, just the beginning. And in this song, you'll hear that Tom Morello sound effect solo. And this is, a Harris Gers song. And by the way, this album, throughout the album, you'll hear little keyboards right in the back, like faintly. Like just chords. No solos on the keyboards, just chords playing, right? Another winner of a song, definitely has a vibe from the Final Frontier. It has that guitar solo, very Tom Morello-ish. Great vocals. And throughout this album, everybody out there, lots of harmonies. You'll hear, and if people don't know what harmonies are, like Bruce will sing here, then he'll sing above, and he'll sing below. So you got like these 3-part harmonies going on. Sometimes it's 2-part harmonies, sometimes it's 3-part. But you hear a lot of that. And an example of harmonies, for those of you who don't know, think of Run to the Hills, the chorus. Think of Flight of Icarus. So you have those 3-part, not more than that. Just make 2 or 3-part harmonies. Any questions so far, Kenny?
Nope. We're moving along. Just Days of Future Past. What were the lyrics like? That's an old X-Men comic, big time. That was when they started going back in time and stuff. But is that what the lyrics are about?
I couldn't tell. And you know what? I did see that sort of X-Men reference online.
I was wondering if it had anything to do with it.
I don't know. And there's a series of books, right? The Days of Future Past, I believe.
Sure.
I don't want to mislead anyone, but yeah, good call there. Good catch.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see.
The Darkest Hour.
Well, I'll leave you with the Time Machine. Again, I don't know if it's about H.G. Wells' book, Time Machine. Guy goes back in time. There's some problems. It's hard to tell. But I'm going to guess that Steve likes to watch movies.
Yeah, Steve likes to read.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at the comments. Harmony vocals with Adrian would be cool. I don't think it's with Adrian. I think it's actually Bruce.
Bruce layering
them. Yep. I could be wrong, but it sounds like Bruce. But in the concert, it's going to have to be Adrian doing it, right?
And Steve Harris does it, but he doesn't have that. I don't think he has that high pitch like Adrian does.
Yeah.
Adrian sings good. Did you hear that stuff he did with Ricky Kotzen? Listen to his voice on that. And he released that earlier this year. He sings. Yeah, he could do it.
All right. Now we're going to think of Darkest Hour, like you said. 7 minutes. This is a Smith Dickinson composition.
Yeah, 7.
Highlight. Now the lyrics. I just grabbed one line. It says, "Now on the beaches, the blood runs red." I kind of looked up The Darkest Hour. It was a screenplay for Winston Churchill. How Churchill brought England back from the brink of World War II. When I read the lyrics or hear the lyrics, "Now on the beaches, the blood runs red," there is a war theme. I don't know if it's exactly from that book and movie and screenplay. I don't know, but I can guess. It has definitely a war theme and some blood has been shed. This, my friend, is the highlight of the album.
Oh, okay.
And you're saying, Jimmy, what do you mean by highlight? This is a ballad.
It's a ballad.
This is a ballad. Again, it could have been off of this album.
Okay, I get you.
Smith, think of Smith with his melody. Think of Smith with his melody playing his solos. Think of Bruce stretching out those vocals and this is the highlight of the album, and when I mean ballad, I don't mean no Doc and Alone Again Without You. I'm talking about
that's looking Cinderella.
I'm talking about a dynamic slow track, and it starts off with the ocean waves, right? Kind of like Natural Science by Rush. The waves, and it ends off with the waves. Definitely. I mean, it's too bad that sort of a little muffled on Bruce's voice, but this will definitely be a highlight when they play live. Wasting Love, someone's saying Wasting Love. Luez is saying yes. A ballad? What? Yes, a ballad, but not a love ballad.
There is a difference.
A war ballad. A war ballad. And dynamic. That's the key word. Beautiful guitar work. Beautiful song. Highlight. 7 minutes and 20 seconds of a beautiful song. There you go. Death of the Celts. There we go. It does. So someone's saying, Vernal's saying, does many songs have same endings as beginnings? That's so. A lot of this album, I said it like before, right? Starts off slow, goes fast, ends slow. So yes, that is that pattern there. But I think the middle part, the big part, is the middle part. All sounds really cool. A war ballad. Yes, a war ballad. Ballads can be about war, can they not?
They did a whole album about war. Yeah, ballads can be about war. They write a lot of war songs. Die With Your Boots On, just think about it.
But it's a ballad, though. Die With Your Boots On is like a fast track.
No, but I'm just saying in general, they write about war.
And for those people tuning in right now, see, Die With Your Boots On is a perfect example of what they did in the past. They repeated the title of the song. If you're gonna die, if you're gonna die, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die. None of that. They've done away with, or for the greater good of, they've done away with that. These are well constructed choruses, and you're not getting verse, chorus, verse, solo, chorus, fade. That's a traditional song, right? You're getting bridge, second bridge, first midsection, You're getting a lot of instrumentals in the middle of songs. You're getting a lot of instrumentals at the beginning of songs. You're getting a little bit of everything for everyone. Death of the Celts. You see, somebody said The Angel and the Gambler. Perfect example of what you're not going to hear on this album. Right? Death of the Celts. Now, this is going to take you to the Klansman. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. So now we're going back to the Blaze era. And what I mean by Blaze era, I mean the music, the sound. Again, a lot of mid-paced songs on this album. A long intro, like a super long intro, acoustic intro and singing, and then you got, I think the midsection is like 5 minutes long, like just of instrumental. So think of Genghis Khan in a song for 5 minutes, something like that. The bass is ripping on this song. So I think the bass is just incredible job. He's just flying. He's just flying on that song. Great vocals. Overall, Death of the Celts got the Klansman vibe, and a lot of time changes. A lot of time changes. So I dug that track too.
Could be the Klansman Part 2. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no freedom, that part when they're singing and everybody starts singing along. No, but this is a very well-crafted song. And Death of the Celts, it's got that sort of, I guess, that Irish sort of, so like the Scottish for the Klansmen, right? Now, again, I'm not going to pretend to know what the lyrics are about. I don't. I could just assume. All right, let me look at the questions here. The build-up, Marcy, yes, I believe a lot of the sadness and realism about war. Yes, soldiers who've been through war, mental awareness. Yep, you got it right. All right, Craig is saying better than Book of Souls. 100% better than Book of Souls. 100%.
I wanted to hear, Jimmy. That's what I wanted to hear. Good. I'm glad.
100% better than Book of Souls. And I like the Book of Souls. And I like it. Right? Klansman meets Dance of Death. You know what? Yes. How is the production compared to Brave New World? That's a very interesting question. So, Brave New World, Dance of Death had that sort of same production, right? This has more of the instruments have more of an 80s feel, right? Like you mentioned before, the Power Slave. It does have that 80s feel. And the production has a more of 80s feel. I do find the vocals were a little muffled in the production, but not to the point where you're going to hate the album. No, by no means. I'm just saying a little bit, right? So think of the vocals on the 2 singles. That's what the sound sounds like, right? Yeah. How many solos on Dance of Celts? I could tell you, actually. I wrote this stuff down, but I don't want to start saying, 17 solos, 20 solos. I could tell you right there. 1, 2, maybe 3. And a lot of the songs have 2 to 3 solos, by the way. They might not be like 2 minutes long, but they have like 2, 3 solos.
Can you tell who's doing the majority of them? Is it split, or it's hard to tell?
It's hard to tell, but you can usually tell Adrian because he's more melodic.
Yeah.
Right. Good question. That's what we have you here for, Kenny. My voice is going now. Again, I think this is Kevin Shirley loves muffled vocals. Again, I don't want to push this too hard. I'm just saying it sounds like a little bit like that, but it does not distract from the great song. Okay, I want to be clear on that. Now the Parchment. That's the now we're on side 2. I think actually side 2 started from Darkest Hour started side 2.
Okay.
The second disc. The Parchment. So people who don't know what a Parchment is, before we had paper, we have some sort of before we had paper, we had that tree stuff that they wrote on. Papyrus, right? What was it called? I can't remember what it's called. And before that, they had some. I'm sorry.
Parchment paper, like scrolls, like type of.
Yeah. Well, we're really on the papyrus, I think they called it, right? And then before that, they had sort of the skin of the animal, which they would write on. And that's the Parchment. Now, again, I'm just looking at online and I'm listening to the lyrics. I'm trying to connect the dots. There was a novel set in 70 AD by Gerald T. McLaughlin, and it spans 2,000 years and includes They include an astonishing Parchment that threatens the very foundation of the church and Christianity. It sounds like something Iron Maiden would do.
Yeah, that sounds like an Iron Maiden song.
Again,
we know Steve Harris.
I'm listening. I'm looking at the words, trying to connect the dots. Don't quote me. It's pronounced Parchment.
Parchment.
Yep,
the Parchment.
Thank you for the great pronunciation. So are the singles the worst ones on the album? Whoa, boy. You see, and now we're talking about, this is a very loaded, dangerous question because everybody has a different idea of what they like. Some people love prog. Some people love ballads. Some people love short, sweet songs. So when you say the singles are the worst ones, no, the singles are great, but they're different. Think of Rush. We always go back to Rush. You have 2112 and Moving Pictures, right? 2 very different styles, but 2 10 out of 10 albums. So it's like that, right? You can't compare them.
2 different styles, yeah. 2 different eras.
Okay. Chris is saying the repetition of the title as a chorus can be brilliant. It all depends on how you craft those choruses. Chris, I love Run to the Hills. And yes, done right, it's great. But this album doesn't have that. And you know what? It's good because they've done a lot of that repetition of the title, and now they're doing something else, right? You're not pronouncing Senjutsu correct. Always look like you hate the old Maiden as they are repetitive. First of all, I'm going to tell you something, Flip. I went to the Number of the Beast. I bought Killers when Killers was released. I knew Maiden before even Bruce was in the band. So I'm the biggest Maiden fan of all eras. And I love them with Di'Anno, I love them with Blaze, and I love them with Bruce. I love all Maiden. So there you go. And the first albums I bought were the first albums that were released.
I've been buying them since Killers too, Jimmy. I came aboard with Killers, definitely. And I remember I saw Bruce Dickinson in a club on Long Island, the Beast on the Road tour with the rods opening up. it was maybe 150 people in that club, and boy, that you could tell they were onto something when Bruce Dickinson hit that stage that time, because we really only had the album for a little bit when we first saw them live with him. I was sad. I loved Diano.
Yeah, me too.
And I didn't know what to expect. And then I was like, boom, now I love this guy, you know?
Exactly. That's exactly how I was. Now, Blind Dog is saying, yes, it does. Writing on the wall is the one with the repetition. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. And you know what? I'm not even talking about writing on the wall in this review because we've already talked about it, right? Yes, but I mean, if you listen to, it's not writing on the wall, writing on the wall, writing on the wall. It's not using the same words over and over again. It's, can't you see the writing? You know what I mean? It's more sentences built into the chorus, you know, phrases, right? And if you understand what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to sing here. Okay. Which songs should they play? I'll get to that. Now, the Parchment. This, for all you Power Slave fans, is a kind of Power Slave vibe. It's got the Middle Eastern Arabic scales going on. Bruce again is singing the lead. Bruce is, as he's singing, you could hear, you know, the guitar playing to his voice. The same notes that he's singing is the same notes that the guitar is playing. A lot of that. Long instrumental at the end. Very hypnotic groove. When I think of Genghis Khan, I'll throw that in again. I'm not saying it sounds like Genghis Khan. I'm just saying it's got that dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 you know, it's got that sort of marching on to war kind of thing. In a way, this is probably the least vocals on a song. So not a lot of that. Well, think of Where Eagles Dare. I mean, he doesn't really sing much other than the two verses and then the whole midsection, right? A very dynamic song. Was much better. When I first heard it, I go, it's okay. Then I kept hearing it like a few more times. And I go, wow, this is a really, really great song. Very mid-tempo. Again, I'm going to emphasize this. Throughout the whole album, there's a little bit of keyboards always in the background. And it's not keyboards like Rick Wakeman playing some solos. It's just the chords.
It's in the background. Yeah, definitely.
To make them more, you know, to highlight sort of the epicness of them all. All right, let's go back to the questions. Killers was my first exposure to Maiden. Is there a song on the new album that gives you a vibe from the Killers album? Oh boy, that's a tough one. If I was going to say anything that even comes close to it was the song I told you, Days of Future Past. But keep in mind, we're talking about two different voices here, so it's really, really difficult to say that's a Killer song. Killers is probably one of the greatest Iron Maiden albums ever made. Correct, Kenny?
My favorite.
Influenced, you know, generations of artists. And by the way, Paul Di'Anno will be inducted in the Metal Hall of Fame.
And I'll be there.
All that action happens on September 12th. There's a pre-party in New Jersey. And it's a watching party. We're going to watch, the people in New Jersey are going to watch on the big screen the virtual gala. And for those of you who can't go to New Jersey, at 2 o'clock on September 12th, you can see the inductions online at volume.com. All right.
Volume.com.
Volume.com. Where Paul Di'Anno and Blaze Bayley will be inducted. Okay. Into the Metal Hall of Fame. All right, let's get to the next track. Hell on Earth. This is another Harris composition. We're clocking at 11 minutes and 19 seconds. Starts off a very Fear the Dark, sort of when the wild wind blows from Final Frontier. Very slow beginning, but definitely goes into the galloping. Again, Bruce is singing to the lead notes, right? Great dynamic ending. Very cool midsection that I've not heard before. A lot of three-part harmonies happening in the midsection that I've not heard from Iron Maiden before, so there's something to look forward to. Another good song, and it's a song that you kind of have to listen to it a few more times. I can't really break it down to other than what I just said, but I would definitely, if it had to fit anywhere, it would fit on the Final Frontier, you know, as a song there. You know, any questions?
No. What's the lyrics about? Did you get any vibe on them?
Hell on earth. Hell on earth is hell on earth. I would maybe a sign of the times,
Right.
right? I think we've covered all the songs, and I'll take questions. I love this one. Those two old farts really think that they can comment on the biggest heavy metal after Sabbath, especially this one with the glasses on. Give me a break, Jesus. Bruce will spit on your face, both. Ha ha ha. So because we love Iron Maiden, and I really liked it, and I think this album's great, Bruce is going to spit on my face. Thank you, Jefferson.
Yeah, we weren't knocking the album. You definitely weren't. I think
Did I say I hated this album anywhere? I did.
never. I think you kind of like it. I think you kind of really like it.
It's really strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very strange, isn't it? I just complimented like every
I'm glad I
song.
can't see the comments.
I love this. Two guys' opinion. Yeah, well, actually, it's one guy's opinion because Kenny hasn't heard the album.
I'm just here to, I was supposed to. I'm here to interview Jimmy about what he feels about the album.
Nah, you're mocking with them, numbnuts. You're mocking with them. You mean I'm mocking the band? I don't know, man. Maybe you should rewind the whole show after we're done and have a look and maybe you missed something there. I don't know. What's your favorite song, Jimmy? I would go back to the highlight is the ballad. I think Senjutsu, if I'm pronouncing that right, might be my favorite song. Because it's got that sort of tribal sound that we've never heard from Iron Maiden. I like the Days of Future Past because it's a short rocker. Could have been off Number the Beast as a nice short rocker. I like The Darkest Hour too. There's just a lot of good stuff there.
I can't wait to hear it.
You know what? And common sense isn't very common. Up the arms. I'm talking about Stratego. I mean, I think we've all heard Stratego, so we're not going to really get into that. The best Harris track. Okay, so here we go. The best Harris track. I'm going to tell you the best Harris track, in my opinion, from the four. Harris as penning it by himself. I'm kind of stumped there. Like, which is my favorite one? I would definitely the Parchment, if you pronounce that right. The Parchment. I think that would be my favorite one from Harris, as he wrote it by himself, right? I'm going to give everybody a little premise on myself. I love all, again, I'm going to say this again. I love all Iron Maiden eras. I love the short stuff. Probably one of my favorite albums is Killers, right? I love Piano, I love Blaze, and I love Bruce. So that's where I stand. I'll take your questions. Do you have, Rudolph is saying, what change you love the most about the album? I'll tell you exactly what I like most about this album. The Iron Maiden's a box. Pretend Iron Maiden's a box. They like to go outside, not too far away from that box. They like to go and touch. For example, in this album, there's a lot of harmony vocals. I like that. They haven't been doing that in a long time. I like that. I like the slide guitar. I like a lot more keyboards in the background, but very faint. I like the time changes. I like the ballad, the big ballad. I like that. So definitely much better than the last album. Look, the haters will hate and the lovers will love. What can I tell you? Right?
Everybody's got their own opinion. We all know what opinions are.
So guys, as we have another, can you hear Bruce well consistently? Yeah, you can. Bruce is stellar on this album. Stellar. And what I mean by that is he's really singing. He's not shouting. He's not pulling that, like, he's really singing, like, really well. And congrats to Bruce Dickinson. And for the guy who said I was like putting him down, I've said this maybe throughout the whole hour here we're doing this. Bruce is probably one of his best vocals. He's not, and it's not about power. It's not about singing over everybody. It's about really coming up with melodies that are contagious and really singing well, picking those right notes. Cam Gamble is saying, how does this compare to the other Iron Maiden's post-reunion albums? It's up there. You know what? We're going to have to revisit this in a year and really say, how did it sit with us? Right? Right, Kenny?
Yeah, exactly. Go back, revisit it. Maybe even 6 months.
Yeah, because, look, I'm just getting first impressions here.
I got a feeling we'll be revisiting this in December when we do our albums of the year.
I would definitely say this is a contender for the album of the year. Definitely.
Sounds like it.
Somebody's saying, did you listen to the CD or MP3? And I'll repeat this, what I said at the beginning. I listened to it on a digital platform. It's like a promo platform. It's digital. It's not CD. It's not MP3. A digital platform, I guess would be similar to Spotify, right? So, how do you compare the heaviness of the album compared to the older stuff? Ooh, that's a loaded question. After how many albums?
Number 17. Yeah.
Heaviness. Look, again, this is a varied album. Maybe this will answer it. It's a varied album. Some parts are super heavy. Some parts are progressive. And some parts are short and sweet. So, yes and no. Best album since? Best album since Book of Souls? I don't know. Didn't love Shirley's production either, but let's be fair. If it's Steve Harris' production at the end of the day, I'm going to bring back Rush as my go-to analogy here. Rush does whatever Rush wants to do throughout their whole career. They started off as a sort of metal band. They changed into this prog band, and then they kind of went this new wave prog. Never listened to anybody. They did what they felt was right. Iron Maiden's the same. They're going to do whatever they want. And I think they've done a great job. Highly recommend this album. How do you feel about these songs? Will there be like live? I think because these will shine live, these songs will definitely shine live.
Yeah, someone asked you before to pick out which 4 or 5 you think they'll be pulling live. What do you think they'll be doing live, Jimmy?
That's a great question. Senjutsu, if I'm pronouncing that right, definitely will be played. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the opener.
Yeah, you think they should open with that?
Yeah, and of course the 2 singles, Writing on the Wall and Stratego. And if I was going to pick another song, I would pick the
Darkest Hour, the ballad.
The Darkest Hour. Yeah, if I was going to pick 4, that's what I would say. The 2 singles, The Darkest Hour and Stratego, and not Stratego. I mean Senjutsu. On a scale of 1 out of 10. It's a tough call. 1 out of 10, because this is what happens. The excitement of Iron Maiden with a new album the number will be so high, right? Definitely not lower than an 8 out of 10. There's no friggin' way. I think they're firing off on all cylinders here. 6 years. They've had a lot of time to write and think and just put things together. Definitely,
a lot's happened. Yeah.
Not lower than an 8 out of 10, and I'm sure over time it'll go higher than that, but probably 8.5. 10 out of 10, I think there's a lot of, there's a little things here. I think a 10 out of 10 could only be realized after about 5 years. You could say, you know what, that's a 10 out of 10, because it stood the test of time, right? But right now, probably 8 out of 10, 8.7 out of 10, maybe a little higher. Any similarities between Sinjitsu and Brighter Than 1,000 Suns, both heavy groove songs? Yeah, there's a lot of that heavy groove, but Brighter Than 1,000 Suns, the difference is it repeats the chorus, right? The title track is being, and they got a lot less that. So, A Matter of Life and Death has a lot of complex, long songs. A lot of that is present here. It's their Black album. You know, I don't know, man. Black Album was sort of like a big breakthrough commercial album. I think they've already broken through.
Yeah.
So their Black Album was Number of the Beast, you know?
Number of the Beast was their Black album, yeah. So actually, yeah.
Does it have aspects from everything from 2000? Yes. And like Kenny mentioned, it has that sort of production of the 80s.
Power Slave era, the Peace of Mind, yeah, definitely.
How's Nico's drumming on the album? His drumming is great, as always. It's a complex arrangements on this album, so you need a great drummer to pull that off, especially on the title track. That's where Nico shines. Title track, Senjutsu, that's how you pronounce it, is is where he shines the most because he's bringing it home with that song. Does the song Senjutsu feature the word Senjutsu in the lyrics? If it does, I didn't hear it. It's not like they're going Senjutsu, Shinjitsu, you know, like they. I didn't hear if they did. Any filler songs? No, no fillers, no filler. I think they did a double album because it just had so much music, and they go, you know what? Here's the music. Do you think it'll sound better on vinyl or CD? I don't know.
Usually,
I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's how you master it, right?
right.
Where do you rank this album in Maiden's catalog? Whoa, boy.
Again, I think you have to wait a little on it. You hear it a couple of times before you start ranking it.
This might actually be one of my favorites on the post Bruce Dickinson era. So if that makes any sense, like you have Brave New World to today, it'd probably be the best one in the post. But again, this will change. I don't know. You know, I would say definitely.
You got to let it sit with you for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you feel Dave Murray's input a lot? Well, he didn't write any songs. So maybe you could say, do you feel a loss of his input? It would have been nice. Is it true Paul Di'Anno's taking credit for everything? No, this is not true.
No.
Great show, guys. Well, I'm going to say this, and I'll leave you with this, Kenny. As my voice is fading, I really like this album. I know that there's that element of it's brand new. It's been 6 years. We're all hungry for Iron Maiden. But I truly enjoyed, I'm going to listen to it right after this. I truly enjoyed their work. I truly enjoyed how they crafted the songs. I truly enjoyed the singing and the solos. I already have it ordered, and I'm sure everybody else does too. So I'm not going to say anything that's going to sway anything. I'm curious to see what everybody's opinion is once this is released, and we'll do a follow-up. I'm here to celebrate with you, Kenny, the release of Iron Maiden and their new album, because to us Maiden fans, and we're hardcore Maiden fans, to us it's like, you know, it's Christmas, right? So
I can't wait. It's 5 days away.
5 days away. I want to hear what everybody else's opinion is afterwards. I loved it. I'll summarize. It's got a variety, like Bruce mentioned. You need to sing us some of the tracks, Jimmy. Come on. I tried before. Did you hear me, Kenny?
I heard you.
The older stuff, because it's more popular, right? Doug Wood is saying, greetings from... All right, everybody, just give me a quick text of where you're from around the world. Just give me a quick text. I just want to know where everybody is. I tried to make this early today, so we got a global sort of audience. What song do you think sounds most like classic Iron Maiden? Brazil. Look at this, okay? Brazil, Nepal, India, Hungary, Chicago, Greece, Elada, from Nepal, Iceland. Oh, Austria. Cheers from, oh my God, it's going too fast now. Jesus. Iceland, Austria, Lisbon, Portugal, Ecuador, India. Greetings from Slovenia. I'm from Italy. Buongiorno. Brazil, Poland, England, Montreal, Los Angeles, New Hampshire, New York, UK, Poland, UK, Florida, Chicago, the Netherlands, Ireland, Spain, Croatia, Norway, Serbia, Bronx, ooh, around your parts, Slovenia, Uruguay, love it, Uruguay, Montreal, St. Louis, Michigan, Portugal, Erie, Pennsylvania, Kingdo, where's Kingdo? Orange County, California, nice. I think you made a mistake. Italy, isn't that crazy, Kenny?
That's
Chile,
it. We went around the world
LA,
today, Jimmy.
Days of Future Past versus the Wicker Man. I like the Wicker Man. Africa, in the Peru, maybe it's Peru, New Hampshire, Lebanon, Kingston, Albania. Hello from Portugal, everyone. Montreal, Canada. Hey, Dale. Pennsylvania. Will this record chart #1 in the U.S. finally? I think there's enough Maiden fans to pull that off. Best solos. Too many solos to say. Maiden family taking the world by storm. Argentina, California. It doesn't end. Africa. What part of Africa?
Well, Maiden is a global band, Jimmy.
And he made it. The Metal Voice is a show too that is global. So
Metal Voice is a global show.
What about Time Machine? Guy Michalis, you're gonna have to rewind for Time Machine. I talked about it. Saskatchewan, Canada. Sorry if you already answered this question, but is there something like Rhyme of the Ancient Manor in this album? Those killer. Yes, a lot of that. A lot of that. Beirut. Look at that. Beirut. Chile. Okay. I think we're going to stop now. You know what? I was just holding on here just to sort of give everybody a little bit of a shout out.
Get a shout out from everybody.
What did you think about the album cover, by the way?
I liked it. Listen, I don't know what happened with Derek Riggs. They thought it was a change, and that was years ago they did that. But they seem to switch up. The last 2 albums were done by this. This is the second album done by this guy. But
yeah.
I like the style. He seems to, and the singles will seem to follow with the style of the Shogun, the Senjutsu.
Mark Wilkinson, who does the album cover, right? It's Mark Wilkinson, right? His name.
He did a lot of Priest stuff, from Ram It Down to Redeemer of Souls. He did every album.
He did Marillion too, I believe, the first 4 albums or a few albums.
The Fish solo albums, a couple of them.
Yeah. He great artist.
Misplaced Childhood and all. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
That's where he's from. Very good, Jimmy. He's from Marillion. I knew that from somewhere.
He's like a phenomenal artist, man, and they really picked the right guy. And I love Derek Riggs. I mean, he's probably
You're going to go away from Derek Riggs. This is a good direction.
And for all you Maiden fans, I'm going to type this up right now. Okay, September 12th on volume.com at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm typing this. Paul Di'Anno, Blaze Bayley, and Derek Riggs will be inducted into the Metal Hall of Fame. It's a virtual gala. You could see them as they accept their speeches. So it's pre-recorded, but it's going to be shown live on volume.com. So take a look at that.
And if you're in the New Jersey area, I think that it's the Middletown Arts Center.
Yeah.
You can go. It's free. You just come and show up, and they're going to have a J.J. French there.
Yep.
Mark Price, a bunch of people. The Dictators are going to play a set.
Yeah. Albert Bouchard.
Eddie Trunk is going to host with Keith Roth from Sirius FM.
Yeah. So it's not going to be it's not going to be, the inductees won't be there. It'll be a pre-party watching party of the gala. All right.
It's a watching party, Jimmy. Correct. Exactly. But they're going to have other people there. JJ French. They'll have other people gathered around, and should be a good time.
Look at us, Kenny. We're just like selling it. We got somebody from Israel. Look at that. We got Hamburg, Germany. And yes, Mark Wilkinson does Fish. And I think he did Vigil of Wilderness, right? He does The Clutching at Straws. I think he did Misplaced Childhood, that sort of style. Can you please play 5 seconds of each song? Would love to, but not allowed to. And you know what? I'm not going to piss off my favorite band ever, Iron Maiden, right?
Nope. Not worth it, Jimmy.
Who wins, Maiden, Japan, or Eddie on Sinjitsu Eddie? What do you think? Come on, Kenny.
I'm classic. I got to go Maiden, Japan, Eddie. That was a big thing for me, that EP. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. That's like, what?
They just came out with that action figure the other day. I saw it was released. The Made in Japan Eddie figure.
The guy's going, sing the melody. You don't want to hear me sing the melody. That's the thing.
Harmonize, Jimmy. We'll harmonize it.
From the sound of Sinjitsu, do you think Maiden will have another one in them? Yeah, I think so, for sure. I mean, they're still like in their 60s, early 60s. Thanks again, Jimmy and Kenny. Thank you. And we're going to let everybody go now as my voice is... thank you, Kenny, for just jumping on and sort of just, again, Kenny didn't hear the album. He was here to sort of like just give some sort of colorful commentary. Oh, Gabe, Jimmy and Kenny, did you mention the production, Kevin Shirley again? You know what? It'd be nice if they had another producer, but that's what they want to do. So, right? It'd be nice just to change it up, right? All right, man. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice Sunday, everyone. Enjoy.